It's time right now.
Let me be your nerd. Let me be your nerd now. I say it, baby, 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 baby.
What the hell was that?
Welcome to the Grizzled Geek Podcast, episode 87. I'm Mike.
I'm Doug.
And we're here with your weekly roundup of nerd news, the best hour of nerd news on the internet, the Grizzled Geek Podcast. Welcome, little Grizzlers. We should have one of you every week.
That's worse than Nerd Nuggets.
Yeah. Hey, man, I gave them a choice, remember? And they picked little Grizzlers.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
That's on them. It's on them now. It's your fault now, not mine. All right, guys, we've got a great show for you lined up here. We've got lots of news. We're going to go about Loki here.
Can you show them our background there?
Oh, yeah. Let's hear let's see here.
Man.
I know. Why didn't you be prepared, Mike?
I did spring this on you.
It's okay. I've got it right. Just got to put the background in the foreground.
There we go.
It's coming. It's thinking about it. It's loading. Here it goes. Gonna have a picture of us. Boom.
Boom.
Look at that. Yes.
I bet you didn't see that there were 6 Lokis there.
No, because there's 2 greatest ones are up front. Look at that. We should have been in that
Yeah.
alternative Lokis right there. All right, guys. So
Spoilers.
Welcome. Yeah, for those of you who are listening to podcast land and wondering what we just did, we put up a picture of us dressed as Loki. So if you want to check that out, be sure to check us out over on YouTube at youtube.com/The Grizzled Geek, or you can check us out on Twitch or on Facebook, The Grizzled Geek. No matter where you go, it's all the Grizzled. It's all Grizzled Geek. So, and speaking of which, we have, for some reason, Libsyn kind of held up podcasts and then spit them all out at once. I have no idea what happened, except the other night, all of a sudden I got, Facebook started dinging. And I'm like, what's going on? And all of a sudden it's like, oh, episode 76. I'm like, that was like a month ago. 77, 78, 79. So if those, you got those, late, sorry about that. I don't know what Libsyn was doing, but all of a sudden, I guess they're waiting for our monthly check to clear. And then they spit out all our podcasts from last month all at once.
Did you see Charlie Tango's quote there?
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. What we got here. Yeah. That's it. Wide Loki, narrow Loki. Tom Hiddleston fan Loki right there. You see that shirt? Like, I actually want that shirt in real life now. So, Tom Hiddleston's face on my shirt. But yeah, so guys, we have a little bit of news before we jump into the nerd news about what's going on with us. We are actually, Doug and I decided to double our workload.
Yeah.
Make more work for ourselves. As you guys may or may not know, we have a separate channel called the Grizzled War Master, where we do all our nerding about gaming, whether it be D&D or tabletop gaming or what have you. We do all that kind of, we segregate our nerd stuff, right? So this is mainly, podcast, reaction, Ruby nerd stuff. And then over there, we got our gaming nerd stuff on the Grizzled War Master. Hey, Ben, how's it going? Good to see you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a podcast about gaming over there. So we're going to have our, we're working on a title. Doug hates the Grizzled Game Talk, which I think Grizzled Game Talk is awesome. And if you think so too, put it in the comments. But no. So Doug is going to come up with a name for this one, but it's going to be mainly about, Age of Sigmar or other tabletop games, mainly Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
Because that's our nerd hobby we do every week. We go play it every week. So we're going to talk about it. And that's going to be over on the Grizzled War Master. So if you're subscribed to the Facebook page, it'll be announced up there just like the normal one. We'll be right here on StreamYard, so you can check us out every week.
Yeah.
So we're just doubling up the workload. And we're getting a couple other shows on the gaming channel set up as well. So that'll be coming soon.
Yeah.
We're going to premiere that one. We're going to talk about it tonight live. So if you want to check us out talking about our new show, we're going to be over there at the Grizzled War Master. We're going to be doing that.
And we should say that we are aiming for probably like a 7:30, I think. 7:30.
Half hour in between.
Mountain Standard Time, I guess, is what we technically are.
This show is so exciting,
varies.
folks. We need to give you a half hour to kind of settle down after the excitement is the Grizzled Geek podcast before you can actually handle us again.
Actually, Mike needs a pee break.
I do. That's. I drink a lot of liquid while we're
I was going to say, this will probably be gone by the end of the show.
So we're going to be doing that. And it's going to be premiering on the 16th. Is that when we're doing it, Doug? You know this stuff. 16th.
Yeah.
Premiering is 16th because next week on the 9th will be the return of our Brothers from Another podcast, Absolute Geek Podcast, where they're introducing the two new hosts from Couch Crunchers. They're kind of merging. Like podcasts are merging. And it's going to be a great show, so I want you guys to check that out. So what you're going to have a choice on Friday nights. After you watch us, of course, Grizzled Geek Podcast, #1. After that, if you want gaming nerd, you go check us out on the Grizzled War Master. If you want comic nerd, you go check out the Absolute Geek Podcast. So you're going to have your choice, right? What's your nerd?
Yep.
You know? So I'm going to be personally filming the one and watching the other off to the side. But, that's how it goes. Johnny Tango. Cutting right to the heart of what it's like to be a tabletop gamer. See Ben's suggestion for the show? Grizzled Game Nuggets. There you go. Little Ben. Grizzler Game Nuggets. That's going to be... oh yeah, there we go. Friday night fights again with the Absolute Geek Podcast. Hey, I was just pimping for your show. I'm stumping. I'm up there going, yeah, check them out next week. But after that, you have your choice. Gaming nerd, comic nerd.
You don't want those dirty, smelly gamers on crashing your party.
Yeah, kind of different nerds, different strokes for different nerds. That's what I'm saying. So we're just offering that gaming alternative for you. All right, guys. Let's talk Loki. What do you say?
Yeah. Obviously, spoilers for episodes 1 through 4.
That's right. Actually, I had... that's right. I didn't have a animation spoiler thing because my son didn't get to me in time.
Yeah.
Fired as an editor, I'm telling you. But... yeah. We'll film that. If that happens, we're going to film it. Go to the game store and see somebody rage quit and flip a table. I don't know, man. They're a little bit more mellow. Back in my day, they were like pretty riled up about games. And now they've kind of mellowed out.
I did have one really salty character at LVO in 2020. He got very upset that I essentially tabled his Archeon and 3 Bloodthirster army. Oh, nice. Did he sweep them all into a box afterwards as miniatures? Not quite, but yeah. He was just like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit.
Yeah. That feels good. That's even better. That's the best kind of win right there.
Yeah, it can be.
All right.
But Loki
talk. So we are now mid-season through Loki. Actually, we're starting in the second half of Loki here. And
it's 8 or 6 episodes.
There's 8 episodes.
Okay.
So we've got... Oh, no, was it 6? No, it's 8. Right, we're halfway through.
Okay.
It's 8. We're halfway through. We're starting... Next week's will be second half of the season. Or is it... No, is it 6? It is 6.
Let's look at it.
Read your notes. See how prepared we are, guys? Crack reporting on the Grizzled Geek Podcast every Friday. You heard it here. Charlie Tango right there is backing me up 6. Look at that.
Okay.
So we are over halfway through. But this show, it started off like super high ratings. Again, it was the most watched out of any of the Disney Marvel show premieres. Everyone was saying it's the best, it's the best one after episode 1. And Doug and I was like, this is not the best not yet, right? And then I think second episode really got us invested into it. We were excited about what was going on. And then the third episode rolled around, and I think both you and I, Doug, were underwhelmed by the third episode. It felt like a filler episode, and we didn't get the kind of background on this other Loki that we're supposed to care about. We got more of that this episode than we did the third episode. So, I mean, there was a few key pieces of information we got in the third episode. And then the fourth episode came out, Doug. What do you think now? Did this turn this around for you? Did the fourth episode right the ship? Did it surprise you? Did it? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good episode. It was the best of the season so far.
Yeah.
It at no point has this show been like, oh, this is the best Marvel show they've put out so far. And I didn't think that after episode 1. I don't think it after episode 4. One, they are all vastly different creatures.
Yeah,
it's
hard to compare those
vastly different needs. The big thing, I think, the big difference is for me is WandaVision was so unique and weird that from the very beginning it caught you with its premise of what the heck is going on. And then, and then episode 2 came along and you're like, oh, okay, now I kind of got the general idea of, what is the setting, what's this context but still, how did it happen? And every episode you felt like I'm progressing on this journey, trying to figure out what's going on. There's little clues being dropped. So that mystery felt present the entire time. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was just a good spy kind of action caper. I like the Winter Soldier. He's one of my favorite characters in the MCU.
Yeah.
It was one could say that it was the most straightforward of them. There wasn't anything very like unusual or weird going on. There wasn't, but it was just, it just was a good show. It just had lots of, action. Oh, hey, there's moral conundrums and dilemmas and stuff like that. And you kind of delved into different people's backgrounds and stuff. It was kind of like a background piece or a character building piece more than anything. And then Loki has just kind of floated in the middle. Like it's kind of a character piece about Loki, but really only in that first episode.
Yeah.
Then it was kind of like, then it kind of shifted gear to what is the TVA? What's going on with it? Then it's like, okay, there's Lady Loki. What's her deal? Except for we're not going to find anything out about her deal. And then this last episode was kind of like, okay, let's blend all of those threads together and go forward from it. It just took too long to get to the point of why are these things all intersecting each other? We should have known everything we know in episode 4 by the end of episode 2. And that would have kept everybody interested, especially with a 6-episode show. If this were an 8-episode show, I'd give it a little bit more of a pass. But this show has really kind of rested everything on Tom Hiddleston's shoulders of being, Tom Hiddleston's a really charming guy and he makes a really charming Loki. And you kind of want to pull for this underdog kind of loser guy. But otherwise, it didn't have much going for it up until now. And now you're like, oh, there's only 2 episodes left. How are we going to wrap this all up?
Yeah. Matt over at Absolute Geeks wasn't a fan. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It was a little slow. I think for a 6-episode series, it seems like a lot of it was kind of stretched out. And I like the premise. I like the TVA. I like Owen Wilson's character, right? Which was, for me, well, that's either going to be a hit or miss. What I heard he was going to be in it. I like Owen Wilson, but in Marvel, I'm not sure. But I like his character to the point where, I was, upset when, what happened to him when he got pruned in this episode.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you're right, and Charlie Tango's right. It's hard. You can't really compare, the different types of Marvel shows because
they're totally different genres.
Yeah,
I mean that doesn't mitigate the fact you can say I like apples better than I like oranges and pears.
Right.
It doesn't mean apples are better for you or that you're right when you say I like apples better than oranges and pears. You can like one better than the other. But yeah, there is no clear, definitive, objective way to measure these shows against each other.
And I agree with this statement right here, right? 3 and 4 could have easily been combined into one episode, right? First half of it, and them stuck on the planet, right? And the second half of it, being captured.
If there had been a twist to episode 3, like it was one or the other Loki had enchanted the other and used that whole thing to gain a significant piece of information, then maybe that would have been worth it. But it wasn't worth it for the one-liner of "you're so narcissistic, you love yourself."
Yeah,
I mean that wasn't worth a whole episode to establish that. Yeah.
Although, hey, I don't blame him. I mean, if I had a female version of myself, I'd be pretty cute. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I think we both commented that episode 4, you actually get everything you wanted about Lady Loki in episode 3. In episode 4, that you actually care what's going on with her from this point. Yeah, because in 3, you're like, why do I care? Just kill her and get it over with, or whatever. It's this doesn't matter. I don't care about her. She's actually kind of annoying. But then 4 totally redeemed that, in my opinion, and brought her back. And I'm like, okay, she's just to the point. And again, this is massive spoiler territory. If you have not seen this and don't want it ruined for you, you click away now. But to the point, when they killed Prime Loki, I was like, whoa, is the MCU going to replace him with
that's what
Lady
I thought
Loki
initially.
going forward? Wow.
Yeah.
And I was actually kind of like, all right, they need to turn over the characters at some point because people are going to age out of their characters. So, hey, that was an interesting way to do it if that was what you're going for. Obviously, with the post-credit, we found out that's not the case, but it was still one of those like, oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't.
Again,
I didn't find that a twist, though.
Yeah,
it's a twist. If there is a twist in it, it has yet to be solved. Because what about Loki falling in love with Loki meant that created a divergent timeline that they were somehow going to ruin the universe when they were both going to die there if nobody had noticed there was a divergent timeline. That part doesn't make any sense yet.
Right. Like
if something comes along and goes, oh, they were going to get away regardless of whether the TV had noticed it because of this thing, blah, blah, blah.
Doug, you missed the whole point. They were going to survive through the power of love. Love conquers all. I mean, we've heard this, right? We know this.
It conquers earth-shattering moons or planets ramming into planets. I don't know what the heck was really going on there.
It's love, Doug. Okay, don't question it. The end credit scene was another step closer to Young Avengers when they had the kid Loki in there. So,
although I'm not sure that he didn't speak, so we don't know yet, but he doesn't look fantastic. And I will only be okay with that kid Loki if he comes along with Alligator Loki.
Yeah. Matt saying in the gas station of love, he has to use the self-service pumps for the longest time. But hey, I get it. There's issues with the show, but as Matt pointed out, I think the show has a lot of potential for the MCU as a whole, right? Including possibility of introduction of Kang, right?
There was a lot in this episode to suggest it.
Right. So who is the main bad guy in this, right? So it's a TVA. Clearly Ramona is a bad guy, but she's a servant of she's serving somebody else, right? She's not pulling the strings, right? She knew about the again, spoiler alert, that the Time Lords were not, now that doesn't mean that the Time Lords don't exist. This means that, this Wizard of Oz version of them here, it's just watching over the TVA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Kang gang.
Her character, I don't know if, again, this is some of the things that people have picked out, like her badge when she arrested Loki or Sylvie, whatever we want to call her, was A23, which could have stand for Avengers 23, which is where her character appeared as a potential love interest for Kang.
Yep. And okay, everyone's saying like, oh, everyone got upset about the Mephisto thing with WandaVision, right? But this is a little bit different than the Mephisto one, right? And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that the MCU is already, first off, they're never going to have Mephisto in an MCU movie, right? They're just not going to. They're not going to.
They might suggest him, but
they might suggest him, but they're not going to have the devil in anything that's Disney related. However, they've already cast Kang, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We know Jonathan Majors playing him. We know he's going to be the main villain in the Ant-Man, the next Ant-Man movie, Quantum Mania, right? Yeah. So he's coming up in the MCU. And what does the MCU do? A lot of the times is they kind of preview those characters, right? There's very few characters show up. I mean, obviously he's not a hero, right? But most of even the heroes showed up in somebody else's movie first, right? Before they got their own.
Yeah, and the villains typically do as well.
Yeah, and the villains, show up. So we know Kang's coming.
Especially
it makes sense.
If they are like a Kang level going to be across multiple movies villain. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And what better way? I mean, if they don't include Kang in this is a missed opportunity, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? To show him being the one pulling the strings and all this.
No, it's Miss Minute.
It's Miss Minute. Yeah.
She's the bad guy.
She's the bad guy. Just a
she is the TV.
AI timekeeper.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
She killed off the timekeepers a long time ago because they were illogical, and she replaced them with androids.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Another reason why Kang makes sense is because they said when they started doing these MCU Disney series, when it was first announced them, that they'd be a good way to interconnect the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that was straight from Kevin Feige. So obviously Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to lead into the next Captain America movie. WandaVision is going to lead into Doctor Strange. And in fact, I don't know if you know this, Doug, but they changed the end credit scene in WandaVision in June. I don't know if you saw this yet.
I didn't have a chance to go back and watch it, but I heard that had been changed.
You should Google it or check it out on YouTube. There's a great video that is a side-by-side of the two, right?
Uh-huh.
And they did some weird changes, like they darkened some stuff down and they highlighted some other stuff. So they messed with the color a little bit here. But what's going on is you get a shadow across the mountain. So basically as the camera's panning in to the cabin, right, as you're watching it, mm-hmm. It's basically shows a shadow of whoever the point of view the camera is, and it's somebody with a cape, which suggests Doctor Strange. Right.
Yeah.
So you can see the shadow on the mountain of somebody with a cape following along with the camera. It was meant to be there. They put it in there. So it's suggesting that Doctor Strange is the point of view from that mm-hmm. Ending there. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Charlie Dangle. They've seeded all kinds. They're doing all kinds of things like that. So they they went ahead and changed that in WandaVision, like after it came out, so to tie into Doctor Strange. So I think Kang is far more. Everyone's like, because we got the Mephisto letdown, which people shouldn't have been let down by that. They should have known it wasn't coming. But because of that, people are like, going, it's not Kang. They're not going to show Kang. It wouldn't do that. And I'm like, well, actually, if they were going to show a bad guy like this is when they do it, right? And it is, I wouldn't say likely, but very plausible. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So with that crazy ending, so that's another thing about this show. It's hard to get a handle on what it's about, right? So it starts off episode 1. You have some idea what it's going to be about. Episode 2 throws that away, right? Like episode 2 said the climax I thought it was going to be, at the end of the series, but no. And then episode 3 chugs along, and then episode 4 kind of throw another wrench into the whole thing. Where is this going, Doug? We have is there some kind of dimension of Loki's hiding out there?
My theory is that in every timeline, in every universe, Loki somehow thwarts Kang's plans. So he has started to go timeline by timeline and cull the various Lokis out of the timeline. But
They're smart enough.
Loki is not one you can just kill and be sure so he banishes them to this broken timeline in which Earth's dead. Earth was destroyed by and I'm gonna assume maybe destroyed by a Thanos invasion or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
The Avengers Tower you see in the background has the Quinjet landing area, so it's not the one from Avengers. It's from later on. But so at some point in the future, Earth is destroyed, and he's just banishing all of the Lokis there to keep them contained.
And then the combined brain power of all the Lokis are going to foil him somehow.
Maybe. Yeah. So that's
is Loki a Nexus being in the comics like Wanda is? No? Okay.
He is not. No.
I think there's a strong argument for it in the MCU.
Yes, I believe so. But I'm pretty sure he is not.
Yeah. Hey, can we talk about Lady Sif for a minute coming back? Right?
Oh, yeah.
We knew she was going to come back for Thor: Love and Thunder, but it was great seeing Jimmy Alexander playing Sif again in here. I think that was pretty awesome. It's got an awesome scene. I like this episode. I don't know. Like I said, I got to see where this is going. I can't judge this series until we're all the way through it, right? Because we've already had ups and downs with this series, right? I want to see where this is going. I want to see if it sticks to landing, right? But I'm intrigued enough to keep going. So, especially after this last episode.
Yeah.
I would say if episode 4 was like episode 3, I'd be like, I might wait till it finishes out to watch the rest of it, right? But yeah, episode 4 brought me back around. I'm ready to go. So, all right. Anything else you want to add about Loki before we move on?
No, I think we covered it. I don't without yeah, I don't know. That's it.
That's it. We'll have more to say next week.
Yeah, we got a couple
all right, Doug. So let's talk about Suicide Squad. I know we did a big Suicide Squad episode last week, but the next week's cover of Empire magazine is going to feature Suicide Squad. I know everybody's like, it's Black Widow's week, but we got another month for Suicide Squad, so they're hyping it up here. There's going to be 6 variant covers to the Empire magazine, and I want to go through and kind of share these here just a little bit. Let's see here if this works. Okay. So we get to see the Task Force X, and this is is it Bloodshot or Bloodsport? Which is
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. Okay, the wannabe Deadshot.
Or no, it's Blood. Did I say sport? Sorry, it's Bloodshot.
Bloodshot. Okay, Bloodshot. Okay. We also have, of course, the Harley Quinn cover, right? With Peacemaker, and Weasel. These are like one of the three characters I'm excited about the most: Harley Quinn, Weasel, and Peacemaker. Right?
Yeah,
they're pretty awesome. I'm also excited about Polka Dot Man, especially when we talk about why James Gunn picked him to be in the Suicide Squad. We'll talk about that here in a sec. Boomerang is the best Jai Courtney's ever been. It wasn't until Boomerang that I could say I actually liked the Jai Courtney, character, and finally he made it. And of course, King Shark with those shorts. I mean, come on, that's just awesome. We also get Flag, another returning member from the first movie, right? And then Nathan Fillion here as what was it? What his limbs? This guy with the limbs that come off. Something. I
don't. Oh man,
it's like D something K. Detachable DLK or detachable limb kid.
Oh.
He's like James Gunn, right? He went through and looked for the goofiest characters in DC, and put them in this, and that's what I'm all for it. And then we also have, lastly, we have Amanda Waller, and look, we got Starro in the background here.
Yeah.
All right, Doug. Let me ask you: if say 20 years ago, I told you that there was going to be a live action version of Starro in a big budget comic book movie, would you have believed me?
No.
Starro, full on Starro.
Yeah.
You go back in the day when they wouldn't even show Galactus.
Only this would be an acceptable place to include Starro. You could not put Starro in like a real.
Wouldn't fit a Green Lantern movie, maybe, or something like that.
Nah.
No. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. There is one thing that worries me about this movie. It looks. I mean, I'm super hyped for it. I can't wait. But there are too many members of Task Force X. They're going to get lost.
Well, they're going to get killed. I mean, it is Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah, but just the time they take to introduce them and stuff, it's going to be.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't bog down the narrative. Because there's like 14 of them ish?
So something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them.
Charlie. It is made by DC, but it's also made by James Gunn. So
right.
I have a little bit of hope in this. But
yeah.
The what did you say? 16?
12.
12. Okay. 12 members of the team. And we had problems when there were only 6.
Right. But I guarantee you, these 12 will have more character development than most of the other ones from the first movie. Right? Yeah. And here's the thing. You don't have to focus too much on like Harley Quinn or Flag, because Flag, one, Flag, they don't care. 2, Harley Quinn, people know who Harley Quinn is, right? And I will see. But I want to point out this with these Empire covers, there is another variant cover, right? As you guys those of you are little Grizzlers good at math, might have pointed out, Mike, you said there was 6 variant covers. Those are only 5 you showed us. What is the 6th cover? And the 6th cover is an awesome black and white drawing from none other than Jim Lee himself. So check that out. Bask in the glory that is Jim Lee art. And even has James Gunn in this one. So James Gunn holding a megaphone, and then all the members of Task Force X there.
Nice.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I can look at Jim Lee's art like all day long. It's like just sitting there like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the pay is better as an executive, but knock it off. Start drawing comics again.
Start drawing. Yeah, enough of your executive retirement. Just get back.
I need more than just covers.
Let the man go. He's done his bit for King and Country.
Yeah.
Max. Nice. Look at more remember the Task Force X than women lying in a public bathroom. And I agree, Charlie Tango, that is classy, man, to have for Empire Magazine to put on a black and white, sketch cover is amazing.
Yeah,
so
super cool.
It is super cool. I'm excited about that. But let's talk about what James Gunn said.
About
why
Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, why he included Polka Dot Man. So in recent in the articles, he talks about Polka Dot Man being part of the Task Force X, right? Because people ask him like, why Polka Dot Man out of all these? He's like one of the goofiest characters. And this is a quote from James Gunn. He says, "So I went and looked online. Who's the dumbest DC character of all time? And it was Polka Dot Man. We turned that character who's a sad, pathetic character into a character who's depressed because people think he's stupid." He has a very tragic story that you learn about through the film, and to be able to add depth to characters who are thought of as silly is a fun thing for me to do. So this is a redemption story for Polka Dot Man, who everybody online thinks is the dumbest DC character of all time.
Okay, so
James Gunn's going to save him.
So Polka Dot Man gets the heroic martyr death that
Yeah,
El Diablo got.
Yeah,
was it El Diablo? That was his name,
El Diablo,
right? From the last one.
The only guy with any kind of
that had a cool story.
Yeah, any kind of character growth at all in that movie. Yeah. El Diablo. They killed him off, but yeah. Any thoughts, Doug? It's gonna have you go out there and buy Empire covers.
No. I think the Jim Lee one is cool, but I am past the point in my life where I'm going to collect magazine covers that are related to movies that I like that are going to be, whatever. It's just I'm past that point in my life.
There was a time that Doug would not only own all these Empire covers, he would own multiple copies of them so he could actually read the story, even though it's the same story for every issue. But have them to protect, sealed in his little baggie.
Yeah,
that's the kind of collector he was. Yes, Charlie Tango. At least was this casket act. There's hype when even Charlie Tango is kind of like, all right, it's a DC movie, but at least they can act. I'm like, all right, Charlie Tango found something good to say about a DC movie. That better be the one you go see. All right. All right, guys, that does it for our our regular stories. Now on to our smaller stories, our little geek bites, our nerd nuggets.
Oh, what
that didn't play. That didn't play. Hang on. Let's try that again. There we go. Better.
All right.
All right. So StreamYard's acting weird today. All right, guys. Let's jump into this here. We'll say here the Production Weekly, which has had a lot of good scoops, right? But some of them, they've also had some misses here and there. So they posted a leaked log line for Black Panther, right? Black Panther Wakanda Forever Disney Plus series that's just started filming this week. So usually a log line comes out once production starts.
That's a Disney Plus series?
That's a Disney Plus series, yeah.
Oh,
you
okay.
know that?
That's not the name. That's not the name of the next movie.
No, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is their DC, is their Wakanda Disney Plus series they're doing. It's like a prequel.
Okay.
It's like a prequel to the Black Panther stuff.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay. So the log line is something, a description that comes out. It's usually attached to scripts and that, and usually when the leaks of that happen is when production starts, when more people get their eyes on this kind of thing, right? All right. Nope. Charlie Tango saying this is the movie. He's all, no, it's a movie. So this is the Black Panther 2? I thought the Wakanda. The TV series is going to focus on Okoye. So, all right. See, that's why we have our crack staff here vetting all these stories for us before we actually tell you.
It makes more sense considering what you're going to say here. But go ahead and read the tagline, and then.
All right. So let's read the tagline here. So the tagline reads, both Wakanda and Atlantis are hidden civilizations with advanced technology and increased militaristic abilities that decided to separate themselves from the rest of the world for their own safety, and in a way, out of fear. Wakanda feared that the technology would be abused, and Atlantis feared that the surface dwellers would come and desecrate the mythical city just as they did so many years ago. And yet their fears escalate even further when these two once hidden nations clash with each other, which tends to suggest a kind of a Wakanda-Atlantis war, right? And the site also reports that Namor, Namora, and Atuma will also appear in the series, so we're getting the full-on comic Atlantis, if this is true, right? So Namor's been rumored forever, right? And everyone kept saying that it could happen in Black Panther 2, could happen. And this one suggests like a full-on, and if this is true, this tells you a little bit about the scale of the movie, right? If we're talking about like a conflict between Atlantis and Wakanda, right? So, Tango, Namor, mutants, yeah, absolutely. Namor's a mutant, so we'll see what. I mean, I don't know, Doug. I know you're not the biggest Namor fan, but given the circumstances of where they have to go with this, what do you think about this direction for Black Panther 2?
I can't say that I don't care, because first Black Panther is really good.
Yeah.
And everything Marvel has done so far has been super good, even if it was with stuff that I was like, I don't care about that, or I've never heard of them, or what? Those are goofy characters. So I can't dismiss it out of hand. I mean, literally hate Hank Pym Ant-Man from the comics.
Yeah.
I almost have that level of hate for Hawkeye in the comics, and they're both super cool in the MCU. So, they can pull Namor around for me. But what I'm most excited about is Namora is in this, and if they don't put her on the Young Avengers, I'll be pissed off.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously she should be on the what the heck is that group's name? New Warriors. But
yeah.
They're not. If they do New Warriors, they're going to do the stupid new version, and that was dumb. So I'd rather just be on the.
I want to point out, Doug, there is a filmed New Warriors TV pilot out there.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Right.
It sounded goofy. So
it's got Night Thrasher and Speedball in it, right? It's got some original members in it, and it also has the AT&T girl as Squirrel Girl.
Yeah,
but
you lost me there. As much as I hate Hawkeye, Namor, and Hank Pym, those three combined don't hold a candle to how much I can't stand the concept of Squirrel Girl.
Nice, fair enough. We'll go with that. All right, what about our next story, Doug?
All right, a new hardcover book is out this month celebrating Captain America's 80th birthday. Titan Comics' upcoming Marvel's Captain America, the first 80 years, is a new 192-page hardcover book that covers milestones in the creation of the comic book adventures of the super soldier, including covers, comic art, and behind-the-scene facts and information about the authors and artists who brought the legend of Captain America to life. I assume this sounds like a coffee table type book, which is cool.
Yeah.
That I could see as something I might actually pick up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm tempted about this book. It comes out the 13th of July, and it looks amazing. They've had some previews of the interior covers and goes through all the, different creators that had a hand in, Captain America throughout the years, and, different stories and the different, it really goes into depth about his origins and how he was used to voice public opinion that really wasn't, couldn't be put out in the news, right? So, especially about the war before America was involved in World War II, the sentiment about the people who, what they thought about the Nazis and stuff like that was put right there in the comics and all that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's exciting. I love it. It's like, it's history, it's comics. If I was going to pick up a new book, which I don't really have room for, but I could always squeeze some more shelf space for a book like this. And he's 80. Captain America's 80, for goodness sakes. You're the guy.
Yeah.
All right.
He's got the super soldier serum. He'll be fine.
He's actually a little older for the premiere, but initially the premiere was supposed to be like a fake Captain America or whatever back in the day, Timely Comics. But there's a whole that's in the book too, like the original origins, kind of murky about when is the actual Captain America, Steve Rogers. When did he actually start? So.
Oh right.
But yeah, they got that in there. All right, so let's talk about Star Wars for a second. So Disney has dropped the name Slave One from Boba Fett's ship, and instead has branded it as Boba Fett's starship. So pretty generic without a name, which, of course, caused some reactions online, as you may have guessed, both in support and against removing the name Slave One. Mm-hmm. But one of the biggest was from Boba Fett actor Mark Austin, who, if you're asking yourself, who is Mark Austin and when did he ever play Boba Fett? It was in the he was in the special editions Boba Fett. So
yeah.
But one of the he took to Twitter to voice his displeasure in like hilarious ways. So I mean, no matter where you fall on this, either way, and again, like Charlie Tango, it's only in the toys, right? They're only taking it off but there's a whole bunch of new toys coming out from Book of Boba Fett that's coming out, right? So, but all that is branded Boba Fett Starship. No Slave One. It's not like they're retconning it or taking it out of the actual old,
talk about these hilarious things, because then I want to dive into.
Okay. Well, I mean, some of them are. Just this guy. He's obviously upset, but he's fun. He expresses it in funny ways. Like he'll show like Slave Leia, and he's like, "Look, it's Starship Leia," and and then showing like his license plate with Slave One license, or saying he tried to get Slave One license plate for his car or whatever. But he had other ones that are, he's clearly upset, but I mean, there was a lot of them that were just kind of like just trolling. It's funny.
Here's my thing.
Yeah,
this actually makes more sense than you would think. It's not just Disney sanitizing and saying, oh, slavery was bad, so we can't use Slave One. They are now presenting Boba Fett as a protagonist, not an antagonist. So you want Slave One never appears in the movie. It's only in novels, Legends novels and stuff like that.
The name is never.
Never said once. Comes up.
Yeah.
But in those, that kind of was harkening back to the whole pulp stuff. To clearly delineate who was the bad guy, you put bad terminology associated with Death Star, Star Destroyer, Slave One. These are the bad guys. Right. Now he's not a bad guy. So just thinking in those terms, he can't have a bad guy named Ship anymore because he's not a bad guy anymore. He's somebody we're supposed to be rooting for.
Right.
So there is a reason behind it other than just being woke.
Right.
That's not what's going on here realistically. If you think of it from the Star Wars mentality, bad guys get bad guy named Ship. He's not a bad guy anymore. He's going to be our protagonist for that series.
It's not just a rebranding of the ship. It's a rebranding of the character himself.
Yes, correct.
So, yeah, I get it. I mean, it doesn't change anything.
If they went back and went oh, hey, all these Legends novels, we're going to reprint them and we're going to call them Boba Fett Starship and stuff. Well, that would be stupid.
That would be stupid.
They're not going to do that.
Here's the thing,
That's
guys.
not what this necessarily.
Everybody that's upset about this, it doesn't change anything. They've never mentioned Slave One. They'll never mention that it's not Slave One now. All they're going to do is not on kids' toys is not going to have the name Slave One. So your headcanon of what the starship's name from all the novels you read or the box of the ship you got when you were a kid, it still says Slave One on it. That's not going to change. They're not going to mention it. It could probably still be Slave One in the series, right? They're not going to say we don't know. I mean, I would hope if they change the name in the series, they would address it as him changing the name and have a name, not just my starship.
Because he has never uttered it. Even in the Mandalorian show, he never utters the name of his ship.
Right, and I don't think he will. I don't think it'll ever be brought up.
Yeah,
so
I don't think so either.
It's his real Slave One name as is not. So at this point, so yeah, it doesn't change anything. It's just the packaging for toys. All right, Doug, what do we got up next?
Oh, and yet another. Here's the mess DC is in. Matt Reeves' The Batman will release next year, but passionate DC fans recently took to social media to get #MakeTheBatfleck movie trending following Discovery's recent acquisition of Warner Media. Time will tell what this leads to, but Affleck has shown a willingness to return as Batman after taking part in reshoots for Zack Snyder's Justice League and agreeing to reprise the role of the Dark Knight in The Flash.
This is more fallout from the Snyder Cut, right? Yeah. And we said this on this channel that if they release the Snyder Cut, which I'm glad they did, but I said if they do, it's going to open the floodgates, right? Everybody's going to want, and immediately we saw that because they were crying for the Ayers cut of Suicide Squad, right? Immediately after. So, you said the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and enough people make noise. They found out they can change studios' mind. But here's the thing: that was Warner Brothers when it was Warner Media when it was not controlled by AT&T, right? Mm-hmm. Which, as we saw in the past, AT&T was willing to turn on a dime and make any kind of adjustment they needed to make to try and make quick fix their dumpster fire of a movie universe, right? I think Discovery might be a little bit different, right? I don't think they're going to be shooting from the hip as much as AT&T was, because instead of a communication company, they are a media company, right? And I think I don't think they're going to, jump to cave to demands like this. Plus, I mean, just because Ben Affleck is reprising his role for the Flashpoint, for a couple times doesn't mean he wants to jump back in there,
right,
full time. I think they were trying to make, they're trying to move on from the Snyderverse at this point. So
yeah,
I don't know.
The Snyderverse was a failure. I don't mind if we keep characters, the main 4 or 5 or 6, whatever, from it, but you need to pretend it never happened and start over.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, or have Flashpoint fix it.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah. Oh, well, that's... make the Batfleck movie. I just thought that was crazy that was actually trending.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So Paramount has cameras started rolling on Paramount's Dungeons and Dragons movie. Okay. It was earlier this month they started. But now that the filming's moved to Alnwick Castle in the UK, and they moved from there to Carrickfergus Castle in Ireland. So they're actually, on these spots here. And we've got our first look at the movie stars on set. Mainly Michelle Rodriguez dressed up as a barbarian. So they're going with their, I guess, classic D&D group, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look at some of these pictures.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what they're doing with this. Give me 1 second. I'll share these images. All right, so here's the first pic. And remember, these are behind the scenes pics, right? So again, this is just them in their basic costumes, right? There's no CG or nothing, no special effects, or anything like that, no lighting things here. So there's Michelle Rodriguez. I mean, if someone's going to play a barbarian, she's got the big axe on her back. You can do worse than Michelle Rodriguez. So, and already just from this picture, I can tell it's a better performance than F9. So, right there, DD's got that leg up right there. And now let's check out this other set photo, behind the scenes set photo. We're going to look at the party here. So, what we can tell is we've got Michelle Rodriguez as a barbarian. We've got Chris Pine, what probably the rogue type, right? It looks like. It seems like the rogue leads the party whatever DD movie it is, right?
Yeah.
And then down here we have a tiefling.
Oh, okay,
horns.
Yeah, got the horns.
Yep. Right? And then these other two we can't really tell, but which could be anything from, or Chris Evans is a fighter type and he's just out of his armor, right? I don't know what he is, but
Pine.
Chris Pine, sorry. One of the Chris's.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter, just plug and play. And yeah, so he's either a fighter out of his armor or he's a rogue type. So we got a barbarian, fighter, a rogue, a tiefling.
Yeah, because I have a feeling there he's not in costume. That looks like he's just wearing a leather jacket.
Well, I don't know, because it's got like the clasps on the front of the leather that are not like.
It's kind of hard to see from here whether.
Those look like
maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Or it could be, just a leather jacket. But I think it's awesome we're getting a tiefling here. An actual D&D race in there. So, I don't know. I'm a little more encouraged about the D&D movie. What about you, Doug? I know every time you hear of a D&D movie, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm still kind of reserving judgment, but hey.
Yeah.
It's got a lot more going for it than previous versions with just what we saw right there.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right, guys. So I think that about does it for us tonight. Tell us what you thought in the comments down below. We'd definitely love to check them out. Be sure to check out our show if you want to listen to it on anywhere you get your normal podcasts, right? We're on Apple, we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on Deezer, we're on a whole bunch. I don't remember all the names of the places we're at, but we're out there, guys. Don't forget to check out if you want to listen about us talk about our new show. It's going to be at 7:30. We're going to start over on the Grizzled War Master, just on YouTube here. If you'd like to join us for that, and we won't be on long. Just basically testing it out and letting people know what's going to happen, what's coming up.
Sure.
Also, be sure to check out tonight is the last episode of the Couch Crunchers. If you want to go over there and support those guys, because they're going to be moving over to the Absolute Geek Podcast next week. So they're joining, they're combining forces, Voltron style, and So Matt, Max, and Lance are going to be hosting that over there next week. But Max and Lance will be tonight for the last time saying goodbye to the Couch Crunchers if you want to go over there and check them out. Otherwise, thanks, guys, for listening. And be sure, if you want to support the channel, there's links down below where you can do that. Charlie Tangle told me that last week that my link to the Teespring store was broken. So I went in and realized I had to fix a lot of stuff with the Teespring store. So that one might give it a week. If you're looking to buy a T-shirt, I gotta fix the whole store. So things expired and I had to re-up and you can only do it so many times, so I gotta re-upload everything.
Got it. Okay.
We'll get it going, guys. All right. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it, and we will see you again next week.